The top left corner of the IPF details page is the identification section. The identification section is where you put in information that describes the instrumented protective function, the SIF, and its targets. That information is going to include the tag number. It's going to include a description of the instrumented protective function. It's going to include a classification on what type of instrumented function it is. So that could be a SIF, an equipment protection function, a manual protective function, which is something that's going to be manually activated, a fire and gas function, a basic process control system interlock, or it might be classified as not being an IPF at all. The other information that defines the safety instrumented function in terms of performance targets is going to include the SIL level, so you can select SIL 1 through 4 or no SIL at all. And then for those of you that are performing explicit LOPA analyses that result in targets that are risk reduction factors instead of whole number SILs, are going to be able to put in the actual required risk reduction factor in addition to the SIL target. Then you can define the mode of operation of the safety instrumented function, whether it's low demand mode or high demand mode. And then you have an area to put notes about the IPF. And this is an area where you will put additional information that describes or clarifies the definition of the safety instrumented function. So for instance, let's say that you've listed two different pump motor starters as outputs, but you specify 1 out of 1 voting. A reason that you might be doing that is because one pump might be normally operating and the other pump might be spare. So for the safety instrumented function to be effective, all you need to do is stop the one pump that is running. So that would be a 1 out of 1 vote. That kind of clarifying information is what you would put in the IPF notes. Then we're going to define the input group logic, where you could select 1 out of 1, 1 out of X, X out of X, and you do that for the inputs and the outputs. And then there's an area where you could put comments about the calculation or the design of the safety instrumented function. This is usually where you'll put some sort of certification statement related to whether or not the safety instrumented function has achieved its performance target.